All right, what is up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Help Me Understand podcast. I'm your host, Coach JK, and I'm coming to you with a pretty short, efficient episode here on a Wednesday. First, always though, I will take a moment and say thank you for choosing to press play on the Help Me Understand podcast. I know you have plenty of other podcasts that you can and probably do consume. So I truly want to take a moment just to express gratitude and appreciation for you deciding to press play on the Help Me Understand podcast, and additional gratitude when you choose to also add it to your weekly queue by subscribing. So with that, let's jump into today's episode. Today, inside of the Fitness Foundations community, which is, by the way, still free to join, just check out the information in the show notes, how you can join the Fitness Foundations community. Today is Wednesday, and on Wednesday, our daily prompt is to post a win. So Win Wednesday, I've been in previous communities where we call it Wednesday, whatever the case may be. And as I'm getting ready to post my Wednesday win today, the thought entered my mind, man, I don't know that I've had anything that really stands out that I can post for a win right now. And I paused and had to remind myself of something. And that's what my message is for you today. So what I jotted down for myself, internal notes here, is 1% better can be seen as only looking at your actions. And for those of you who are familiar with James Clear, Atomic Habits, you'll understand this concept of getting 1% better each day. And so again, what I jotted down here is 1% better can be seen as only looking at your actions. Because in my head, I was thinking, okay, what's something that I've gotten better at or 1% better at? That's going to be my win. Something that I did better than I've done it before, something where I hit a new level. Doesn't need to be the next level or the next like crazy level or a PR of sorts, but what's something that I did differently? And what came to mind there is the reminder that in some cases, this concept of getting 1% better can start to mess with your head because you're not truly taking into account, and I'm self-projecting here, maybe there's somebody who will be able to relate, you're not taking into account the environment and the events that you've been in the middle of and maybe still are working your way through. And the fact that you've still maintained consistency with particular things in spite of a particular environment that you are currently in, whether it be at home, at work, or somewhere in between, whether it be particular events that have happened completely outside of your control, different situations and scenarios, whether they've happened to you or someone that you feel some sense of responsibility for, whether it's a partner, loved one, kids, pets, anything in between, taking those things into account and regardless, still continuing to maintain a level of consistency with particular habits. From my point of view, that's a win that's also getting you 1% better because you were still able to maintain some form of the habits that you've committed to and that you said you would do, regardless of the scenarios around you. So as I think about it, one of the wins at least that I will post is that I've maintained getting in somewhere between a base of about 10,000 to 11,000 steps throughout the course of an entire day, not just one chunk in the morning or one chunk in the evening. However, getting those throughout the day, regardless of what my schedule has looked like, regardless of what sort of unforeseen things have happened, the change in my schedule, regardless of really more of what my stress level has felt like based on work or other situations going on. So regardless of those particular things, my win is that I've maintained a level of consistency with something that's important to me, and that is getting in movement throughout the day and not having long drawn out periods like hours where I'm sedentary. I certainly am all good with sitting, maxing, and relaxing and just kind of chilling, flip flops and socks, all good. And also, I know the importance of maintaining some level of low intensity movement throughout the day. Again, not getting completely sedentary for long periods of time, and also knowing when to wind down, know when to just chill. So as I think about it, I wasn't going to share that as my win because I was like, man, it's just something that I already do. So I don't know that that's a win. So I had to take my own advice here as I would have this same conversation with somebody else. I would ask them to try and take a look at how they're evaluating it. So I'm having that same conversation with myself. Only difference is you get to hear this particular conversation. And this is the type of stuff that I post inside of the Fitness Foundations community. So, my challenge to you is as you are thinking through a win for yourself, or really if you're someone who is familiar with the concept of getting 1% better, I really want you to challenge yourself and understand that in particular areas. So this is not all encompassing. It does not apply to everything. I'll get to that in just a very quick moment. In particular areas, you being able to maintain the foundation of your particular habit, whether it has to do with your mental health, whether it has to do with your physical health, or anywhere in between, you being able to maintain that in face of an environment that you're currently in and working your way through, events that have attempted to knock you completely off course, but you've still been able to maintain, like try and stay within that middle lane that I talk about on the 5-lane highway. That is, from my perspective, in those particular cases, that is getting 1% better because you have still been able to maintain the thing. 1% better, again, from my perspective and my perspective alone, is not always something that's wildly different than you've ever done before. It also has to do with maintaining and staying firm in that foundation, regardless of the things that are happening around you. So that's just something to keep in mind. I will say again, this is not something that I would apply across the board to absolutely everything. There are particular areas where if you have set the standard or the expectation or set that's your target, that's your intention to hit a particular level in order to identify this is what 1% better looks like, then this does not apply there. So the win would be when you hit that particular level. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I appreciate you listening to this very short episode. If you have particular thoughts on this, a follow-up, an additional question, anything like that, my contact info is in the show notes. And as I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to be a part of the Fitness Foundations community where conversations like this are happening on the regular, then just hit me up in the show notes. I will get that invite over to you. And again, it's absolutely free to join. And the only expectation and requirement is that you make a post introducing yourself to other people in the community. So you just let us know who you are. That's legit all that it is. And the reason for that is because a community is only as strong as the individuals who participate in that particular community. Otherwise, you just have another standard group where there's not a whole lot of contribution going on. So with that, thank you again for listening to this episode of the Help Me Understand podcast. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time.